Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I will be doing my first texturized paint pour artwork. The first thing I'm doing is I'm sanding over this piece of art that I had in my living room just because it was a little bit rough and I wanted to smooth it out. And then I'm just wiping over it to get the dust off of it with a rag. Now once I have that done, I have coffee cups that I've turned upside down and I will be laying them out on my drop cloth. And then I'll be setting my canvas on top of this. And this is because when I start pouring my paints and moving it around, it will be running over the sides of the edges of the canvas. First thing I'm going to do is take just a sample of Kiehl's architectural white paint, and it's got primer in it already. And I'm going to paint the canvas with a couple of coats of this. And this is just to ensure that I have a nice even base to start with. Once I'm finished with that, while it's drying, I am going to be mixing up my paint colors. And I'm using coffee cups, and that is only because I thought that I had a pack of solo cups in the cabinet, but I can't find them, so either I use them or they are misplaced. So the coffee cups worked out okay, and they cleaned up good by soaking them in water and just using a little scrub brush on them. The first thing I'm doing is pouring clear Elmer's glue into my coffee cups because I'll be using this as my medium. Once I have my glue in my cups, then I'm going to start with my colors. And this one is a real pretty copper color, and I actually wish I would have incorporated a little bit more of this into the painting, but like I said, this is my first try, so this was trial and error. And I'm just going to add, I don't know, a few squirts of the paints in with my glue, and this is pretty thick. So I do go in and add a little bit of water at a time to stir it in to get the consistency that I think I need. One of the things that I think I will do next time I do a paint pour is I think I will thin my paints out just a little bit more than what I did this time. And I just repeated this process with all of my paint colors. And I am using different brands of paint, and this blue one actually has some primer in it, but it works out nicely because later in the video you'll see how we're going to achieve the texture that we have on this painting. I'm adding a little extra glue to this one cup because I will be using more white paint than any of the other colors. Once I have all my paints mixed in, I do go back and I add a little bit of water to each one of these to make it a little thinner. Now I'm going to start pouring my paints into a cup and layering them. Now the one thing I did learn during this process is that I needed a larger cup and I needed to pour more paint in and fill the cup up all the way. That way I would have more paint to pour with initially. And now I'm ready to start pouring. And I'm just sort of pouring this randomly. I don't really know what I'm doing, and I just wanted to see how this was going to work. But this is where you can see I probably should have had a full cup of paint so I could have poured more on the canvas initially. And I'm just moving the canvas around and tilting it so the paint can run. And this was actually a pretty interesting process and really fun to do, and especially when the paint starts to kind of separate a little bit and really show the pattern that it's going to have. And here, as you can see, I've just poured out another cup of paint towards the corner, and then I'm just pouring the rest of it that was in the bottom of the cup just kind of over the top of the picture. And the paint will continue to move and shift around throughout this entire process. And then I just repeat this process, and I just keep mixing my paints, pouring and layering my paints into the cup, and then coming back and pouring on the canvas, and then tilting the canvas around until the paints spread out and it's pretty much the way that I want it. This was such a fun process for me that I do want to make some more. Now, I will tell you that using the Elmer's glue as the medium is not going to give you that shiny glass finish like you would get with resin. I don't have any resin, and I also don't have a heat gun, so this is why I decided to just go ahead and do a texturized piece of art. And by the way, if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It would really help me out. And those of you that are watching, I would really appreciate if you would give this a like, give it a thumbs up, and leave a comment below and let me know what you think about this. And here I'm just touching up around the edge a little bit. This last step is I'm using the blow dryer, and what this does is this actually shrinks the Elmer's glue, and it makes these valleys and little separations from some of the paint colors and gives it a beautiful texture. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Happy crafting and have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching.